Hello there, Libra. Thank you so much for stopping by to check out your November Tarot in-depth forecast to see what's going to come up for you during these time frames. I do have this month divided out into 4 different sections. We start off, the first 3 sections are exactly a week long, and then that last section is the last 9 days. So the first days that we're going to cover are going to be, we're going to take that November the 1st through the 7th, and let's just see what comes up for you guys. I like to break the months up. I think it gives us a better idea of how the energy is flowing rather than doing one big overview on the month. These are general readings that I'm putting up on these videos, and that means that most of this will apply to most of you, but all of it will not apply to all of you. For some of you who are not resonating with this, you may want to check your sun sign or your moon sign and see if those will resonate more for you. Sometimes that does happen. Okay, we have your cards on the table, Libras. So the first thing that we're looking at is going to have to do with your environment. Now, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And it looks like you have some long-term plans about your environment, and you're feeling like you've got a lot of energy about these ideas that you have about the environment. La da 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 da. I almost feel like with these plans that you have, it looks like it may take a little bit of time or time or effort to sort of prepare and put those plans into motion. It looks to me like you've got a lot of enthusiasm around these plans, and you're really, really tempted during this time frame to just jump in and just start making these plans happen without taking the time or making the preparation, but just jump in because that enthusiasm is so overwhelming right now. Next thing that we have that I'm looking at for you guys is your subconscious leanings, Libra. And what I'm looking at when I see your subconscious leanings, what are you guys focused on here? It looks like you have been sort of taking a break from something because you thought it was a good idea, really, to take a break from it. Maybe it was something that where you were being overworked, or you were hitting burnout, or something that you were just thinking maybe it's too good to be true even. And I think that with this, you're looking at your situation and you're realizing, you know what, I'm secure enough right now that I can take a break to sort of rethink things and make sure that this is actually the direction that I want to go. So it's coming across to me that this could be happening in 2 ways for a lot of you Libras. For others of you, it's going to happen in one way or the other. So the 2 ways that this looks like it's playing out to me is, first of all, this could be playing out professionally, that you guys feel like you have enough stashed back that it may be a good time for you to step back from working a little bit, take a break, think about what you actually want when it comes to work. For others of you, though, I think that this may have to do with a relationship that you're in where things just feel like it's a little too good to be true. And so you want to step back and give yourself some time to sort of center and ground a little bit, and then look at that relationship from a little bit more of an objective stance, maybe without that person around all the time, so that you can really see what's going on in this relationship, because there's a sense of I'm just not sure that I can trust this. Everything seems to be a little too perfect. So like I said, for some of you Libras, you're going to be going through both of those at the same time, simultaneously. Others of you, you're going to be going through one version or the other, but this is what is in your subconscious during this time frame from the 1st through the 7th. wanting to get some objectivity on things. Now, next we're going to look at learning style and communication style during this time frame. So, learning style. I think for some of you, learning style, you have people that are telling you, or at least one person in your sphere of influence is telling you everything that you need to know about that person. If you have any questions, they're an open book. And for some of you, I feel like they're just giving you this information voluntarily without you even asking questions. I do feel like you are finding out a lot of information that may be of adult interest in nature because you're interested in it. You know, you're pursuing that information. Maybe you're looking at new techniques, new styles, new games to play, new toys to play with the games. There's definitely this, you're definitely learning some things that are definitely adult topics, and it is, your curiosity is actually leading you there, okay? And for others of you, well, no, I'm not even going to say that. Some of the other things that you have to do with that you're learning about have to do with somebody who has already crossed over, who is special to you. You may be going and getting a medium reading from somebody like me, or you may be getting messages from them even though they've crossed over. You know, if butterflies are special to you, between you and them, you may be seeing butterflies, or if it's pennies, or if it's feathers, or whatever is your special code between you and that person, you may be getting messages from that person during this time. I think you will be. Now, next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your communication style. And I have to say that I think during this time frame, there is going to be at least one instance where you will be sitting in front of somebody, and I don't know if you'll actually say it, but you're definitely thinking, just ask me something. Just ask me. I think you're perfectly willing to share information with this person, but they have to express some kind of interest. And so I think you're sitting there waiting for them to express interest, waiting for that opportunity to start sharing that information with them. This card really doesn't tell me if this person is actually going to ask you. So that kind of gives me the impression that some of you, yeah, someone will be asking you things and wanting to get to know you better. And for others of you, this person may not be asking you anything. For some of you, this strikes me as a type of a job interview, or an interview for a contract or something like that. But for others of you, I think this is more personal. What else do we have as communication style? There will definitely be some time frame where you are closed off to communicating with other people. You are just going radio silent. You're doing your own thing. You're taking the time to sort through and reflect for yourself without interruption from other people. Then the other thing that we have coming up about communication is I think there's somebody who is giving you a little bit of confusing communication. Whatever they're telling you doesn't necessarily make sense, or it changes from minute to minute or day to day. And it looks to me like your response to that, or your reaction to that, is to become more ambiguous yourself, to where you're not really giving them that much information either, so that you guys are both sort of dancing around the mulberry bush here in regards to trying to figure out what's really up with the other person. This feels to me like somebody who is more in a teamwork type situation with you, like not partnership, but maybe like colleague or something like that. Someone who may be in somewhat of a competitive teamwork situation with you, like they want to look the best, or they want to have all the ideas, or you know, they want the bosses to look at them more favorably, that type of thing. And I think that's why they're being really ambiguous with you. Instead of actually working together with you, they're trying to make sure that they look like the star performer on the team. That tends to backfire for people just so you know. I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. But anyway, that's what I'm picking up on that situation. Let's look next at work. I think that you're leaving work during this time frame. I think you're walking away from a situation here. I think that you're not very happy with whatever's been going on here. And I think that, to be quite frank with you, I think you're getting into it with somebody. And I think after you get into that disagreement with somebody, it feels only natural to walk away from this situation. And I don't feel like you're getting fired. I feel like you're getting frustrated and aggravated. I don't think that, I get the impression these people would never fire you because they find you too valuable. But at the same time, they're not listening to your ideas or to where you see things that need to be corrected. And so that's where the frustration level is coming in. I think you're walking away. The vast majority of you are just walking away from this. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, let's look at inner work next. Inner work, inner work, inner work. I think that you may be dealing with blues or the depression during this time frame, Libras. And that may have to do with the idea that suddenly you're not working. Could be, but doesn't have to be. I think a lot of this was before you actually left the job anyway. So your work here right now is to find things that actually make you happy and focus on those. You know, find some companies that you would actually enjoy working for and start working on the resume, or, you know, do something in the garden if you really enjoy that. But it's your work here really is to find those moments that make you feel happy and inspired. Okay. La da 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 da. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Okay, so what do we have showing up here? Oh, wow. How is this working out? You have two majors on this out of 3 cards. So I think there's something going on in your life that you are not very happy about, something that you've been doing or a habit that you have, that you are making a transformation here with this, and you're turning this around because you were not happy with you about this. Here's the sticky point, okay, is that there is somebody in your sphere of influence who is not very happy about you making improvements to yourself. This person is used to kind of running the show and telling you what to do and pulling your strings and manipulating you, and now you're changes and now you're not so easily manipulatable, and this person is not happy. This is actually somebody who is very much a narcissist as they show up in this deck, and they are not very happy with the idea that you're making some changes. I feel like for a lot of you, you're making some changes for basic self-preservation. Some of you could be deciding that you no longer want to actively participate in an addiction, and you're making some changes so that you're not doing that. Maybe you're getting yourself into treatment, or you're going to meetings, or you're, I don't know, flushing everything out that's in the house. This other person is seriously not happy about that, and I think that you're going to have some backlash from that. Now, me saying I think you're going to have some backlash from that is not the same as saying you shouldn't do it. It's just saying you've got a heads up. Not everybody is going to be real excited about the positive decision you're making for your life here. So you want to sort of put on your safety belt and your hard hat and be ready, because there's going to be some incoming there. Okay? All right. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand for during this particular time frame, Libras. So what do we have? Okay, Libras. It looks like you have a situation where you and somebody that you were partnered up with, whether it's a romantic partner, friendship, business partner, I'm not able to tell from this particular spread, but there was somebody that you were partnered up with that you're just not on the same page. And what's happened with this situation is you have put out all kinds of energy and effort in trying to meet this person halfway, but there's still no happiness in this situation. And I think somebody is saying to you, well, why did you try so hard? Well, you're defending the idea that, you wanted to make this work. So of course you're trying. Okay? What else is going on here? How this other person is seeing you after you have this conversation. They see you as somebody who is really strong, who has a lot of self-confidence, somebody who knows how to manifest the things they want without having to jump up and down and shout and scream. And they're actually attracted to you. Okay? So what is, if this is about your romantic partner that, you put all this energy and effort into and you're not happy, this person, why did you put so much energy and effort into it? This person is actually pretty attracted to you. In fact, this person cares about you a lot and has feelings for you as well. So, you've got one of those, I call them a vulture, they're relationship vultures. So if this is a romantic relationship, this basically is telling me that you have a relationship vulture. This is somebody who's waiting around to see if your current relationship will fall apart so then they can swoop in and they can have you. Okay? This person does actually have strong feelings for you, is attracted to you, and feels like you have a lot of but obviously, your focus is somewhere else here because your focus is on putting in all the energy and effort into trying to make this other partnership something that would be happiness making. So that's an interesting little dynamic to have show up there. And that's for Libras. Let's see. Next thing that we want to look at is going to be talking to me about your flex point during this time frame. So this is going to be the point where things start to change direction for you. Excuse me. There we go. So things are going to start to change direction and form up in a little bit of a different way for you during this particular point in the time frame. So I do see you following your intuition quite strongly during this time frame, Libras, and it looks to me like you are setting up some kind of foundation, a solid foundation that you can build on and add to, and you're setting up boundaries to protect that foundation, to keep it safe and secure. Not sure yet whether that foundation has to do with relationship or work, so it may be that that's going to apply one way or the other for different groups of you. Or maybe we'll understand a little bit more of that as we look at these other cards for what's going on at the same time frame. This may be the person that you're setting up boundaries with, but it looks like you have some kind of movement coming up. I don't know if this is vacation, moving office, moving home, day trip, weekend trip, but there's some kind of movement that shows up here with a man who is throwing a fit. I feel like they're really throwing a fit, and not necessarily the most truthful person either. It looks to me like the two of you are really getting into it. So this could be the person you're setting up your boundaries to kind of keep them out of this new foundation that you're setting up. And I think that you're doing that very almost instinctively with this intuition card showing up. Your intuition's telling you have to set up those boundaries right off the bat. And you know what? For some of you, common sense could be telling you that, depending how grumpy this person really shows up as. For some of you, he's going to be a big-time grump. What else do we have going on here? Well, there's the boundaries. You want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to be doing this with everybody else's help and giving everybody else credit. This is something you feel like you can take care of. And I think that you feel like this other person is just going to throw you off track. They're going to be a trickster. They're going to try to manipulate the situation into whatever it is that they want instead of what you want. And they're going to cause a lot of stress. And so rather than associate with them, you would rather just handle this on your own. You know that you've got this. You know that you can. You know that you don't need them to actually help you with this. All right? And you also know that they're going to be more of a hindrance than a help. Now, where we see you at the end of this time frame, Libras, we see you really focused in on something right now. And it looks to me like you've got some friends who are getting on your last nerve at the moment. And I think that this has you in a situation where you really don't know what to do. You really don't know what to do with this situation. And it's almost like you're sort of obsessing about this. It looks like the only thing that you can think about is a situation where a friend has gotten on your last nerve. And your focus is all there. And it really has you down. The problem with this is that when we focus on something that's negative or something that doesn't feel good, what happens is we make that situation bigger, or we draw in more situations similar to it, so we still end up not feeling good. So, you know, free will can change anything. These cards don't have to be true on my table because you have your free will. You can change this. So if you start to feel like you're focusing obsessively on something that's a more negative thing, well, then that's your cue. Oh, that's what I have to change so that I can have better things happen in my life. So you don't want to focus on the negative. If you want to focus on anything, you want to focus on something you enjoy, something that makes you happy, something that's more positive so that you can create more of those things that make you feel more positive in your life. So you want the opposite direction of where you are now. Don't focus on that problem you don't know how to solve. Focus on the other things that make you happy, and the answer, the solution to that problem you don't know how to solve will come to you. As long as you're focusing on the problem, you're making the problem bigger. Focus on something else, the answer will come to you. Okay? So that's that time frame for you, Libras. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, take a break, and come back, and we'll hit the second week of November when I come back. See you soon. Welcome back, Libra. This time we are going to be looking at the time frame from November the 8th through November the 14th. Once again, a little reminder, this is a general reading, which means most of it will apply to most of you. However, if it doesn't feel like it resonates, you may want to check out your moon sign or your rising sign reading and see if those resonate better. Thank you very much for being here and spending some of your time with me. Thank you also for liking and sharing this video. That does add to the logarithm on YouTube and get me in front of more people, and I like to be helpful to more people, so thank you for helping me do that. Right now we're just putting down your cards to see what kind of energies are going to come up for you for this particular time frame. Okay, Libra. First thing that we're looking at here talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So what do we have showing up? It looks like this is an environment that you are coming back to, and it looks to me like Somebody may have asked you to come back to this environment. So this could be a workplace situation. I know we saw you walking away from work on our last time frame. It doesn't have to be, but that's the first thing that comes to me. And it looks like, I'll be very surprised actually if this is not workplace, because it looks like not only have they asked you to come back, they've also told you, well, we'll give you this bonus, or we'll pay you this, we'll give you a raise, or, they're doing something to sweeten the pot. Now, if this is not a workplace situation, if this is a relationship situation, this could be somebody asking you to come back and saying that they are going to put more energy and effort into the relationship situation than what they had before. So either way this works out, somebody is asking you to come back, and somebody is saying, if you come back, I will do this that offers benefit to you. Are you going to come back? I don't know. I can't see it from there. Is that benefit going to be worth it to you? I don't know. I can't see it from those 3 cards. If you want to know stuff like that, then what you want to do is you want to schedule a private reading with me. La da 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 da. All right, let's see here. Next, we're looking at your subconscious leanings. La da 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 da. There's something that you are waiting for, and it looks to me like you feel like there's somebody in your sphere of influence who has a secret, and you feel like they're just waiting for the right moment to tell you that they've lost your money, or that they need you to buy this or that for them, or that they need to borrow money from you. And so in your subconscious, you're just waiting for that. You feel like that's already in the plans. It just hasn't been revealed officially yet. And so your subconscious is just getting prepared for the big reveal when somebody says to you that they've lost your money, or that they want money from you. Or other physical assets, but probably money. All right. La, da, 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 da. Next, we're looking at communication style and learning style during this time frame. We're looking at learning style first. It does look to me like during this time frame you are learning about something that is very complicated and that may have very many moving parts. Whether those moving parts are actually physical moving parts, or whether that we're talking about, something that is a complicated theory that has a lot of what ifs in it. But there's something that you're learning about that has a lot of complicated details. I feel like also there are some things that you're learning about that have to do with emotions, and they circle around how you feel about somebody or how you feel about some particular thing. I think you're learning about the idea that there could be goals around this thing that you really care about so much that I don't think you were aware of before. There comes up to me that you are just beginning to, and I mean just beginning to glimpse some untapped potential around something that you care about a lot. Now this could be a person, but it could also be something else that you care about a lot as well. La da 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 da. What else do we have for communication style? I think that you have so this is going to sound a little bit strange, but this is what I'm getting, so I'm going to put it out there. Libras, I think you either have a person or a pet or a number of pets that you feel very comfortable with, and I think that you may be talking to them about issues that you are kind of wanting some insight on, because you've got things going on that are blocking your happiness with those issues. So for some of you, this is just kind of hashing some things out, with somebody who's really close to you that you feel really comfortable with, not even necessarily expecting them to answer you, as much as just having that person that so you can voice these things. But for others of you, I feel like for the great majority of you, actually, you're talking to a pet about the situation, just to be able to hear those words come out of your mouth so that you can get some kind of insight or perception from a different standpoint. I feel like it's very therapeutic and it's healing for you, and also it puts you in a position to be more receptive to the positive ideas that will help you move forward. La da 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 da. Okay, let's look next at communication style. There is definitely a lot of talk going on here about happiness and about what it would take for you to feel happy with a situation. For some of you, that happiness involves money, 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 honey. Not for all of you, but for a good percentage of you, about 80% of you, I would say. 80%, not 80%. La da 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 da. Some of you, your communication during this time frame, at least with certain people, is going to be very affectionate, very loving, have a lot of emotion based around that. And I do feel like also, Libras, there's somebody that you're trying very hard to impress through your communication during this time frame. So you may be making sure that you're pointing out the best things that have been happening to you, or your own best attributes, or maybe if you're trying to sell them on an idea, like all the wonderful benefits to them. But there's definitely somebody here that as you're communicating with this other person, you're definitely trying to put that good side forward. Best foot forward is how they say. Yeah, you're really just trying, you're really trying to make a very good impression. I almost said you're laying it on thick. I don't think everything that you're saying is not true, or maybe not any of it's not true, but there is some exaggeration and a little bit of illusion going on in this game here as you're communicating, is what comes across to me. Okay? It's almost like you feel like it's so important to impress this person that you kind of forget where's the line between the truth and the illusion. All right, next thing that we're looking at has to do with your work. What is going on here? There's a definite divide happening whenever it comes to your work. Oh, this is within you. All right. So Libras, what you've got going on here is you have some opportunities for work. You have an opportunity to do what you really, 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 really love, and call that work, and be paid for it. But there's a part of you that says, well, that's just not logical. How can that be the best offer that I have? People don't generally like their work. That's not how it's supposed to be. It is how it's supposed to be, by the way. But I think you're really debating with yourself. Like, you have this old thought pattern, Libra, that says that work is not supposed to be fun. And if it is fun, it's not going to pay enough. Like, if you're doing fun work, you must be a starving artist type of thought pattern here. That really isn't the way it has to be. But I feel like with work you do have this, you have this inner turmoil, and it's keeping you from reaching the goal that you would love to reach. So stop that. So I guess we can figure out what inner work is going to be all about, isn't it? Inner work is going to be about letting those negative self-talk things go, starting to focus on those things that we really want, especially as it comes to work, and moving towards those. That's the inner work during this time frame. There's no reason to feel in turmoil when you can do something you love and make good money at it. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. Let's look next at that part of your personality that is being grown or expanded during this time frame, Libras. What do we have? You are keeping some strict boundaries here between what you're working on and your attraction. Isn't that funny? You are choosing to collaborate with or work on something that you're not, actually it's not even that you're not drawn to, it's that you're repulsed by. There is no love here for you in this. So it looks like all that inner turmoil that we had going on, yeah, you've chosen not to do the thing that makes you happy. Okay, Libras. I think that's an interesting choice, but you know, free will can change things, by the way. If you think that maybe you would like to do some work that makes you happy, you can make some different decisions and you can change that. Those cards don't have to be true. Just saying. In my humble opinion. Since I'm on the camera, I get to state it. Okay, so let's look next at things that you stand for, Libra, during this time frame. Looks like you have ended something and ended it with great finality. And as you close that door, you have opened yourself up for things going well for you, things going smooth for you, for being encouraged and uplifted and empowered as you move forward. So obviously a good choice here, whatever this is. And somebody is questioning you about this choice that you made. And so you're having to defend this at some level. And how this other person feels after you've defended this that's interesting. They feel like you're somebody who is a little naive, and they're accepting that. And they're accepting that your naivete is going to change the outcomes of some of your situations. And they're accepting that as well. Now, I don't necessarily, from everything that I've seen in this spread so far, I don't see that. In fact, I see the opposite of that. So I'm kind of surprised to see somebody viewing you that way as I'm looking through this particular spread especially. This comes across to me as somebody super critical. This could be your mom's, Libra. I feel like for a lot of you, we're talking about a mama here. Mama. Mamas always worry about their babies, no matter how old their babies get. Okay, flex point for Libra. This is where things start to turn in a different direction or take a little bit different shape than what they have. Okay, so what do we have here? I think that you're feeling really inspired to go towards something new. And because you are feeling really inspired to go towards something new, you are moving away or letting drop some old responsibilities to make space for that new thing and for beginning that. Okay? At the same time that that's happening, this may be what you're letting go of. It looks like you had a situation that caused you some heartache and really just made you feel almost like you're at that why stage. Like, why did I invest so much time and energy into that? Why did I do that to myself? All right. What else is going on during this same time frame? And remember, you're letting something go, so I'm guessing that's that. And starting something completely new. Also at this same time frame, there's something going on where you're not traveling. I think you were planning on traveling, and you're not traveling after all. And I think the reason you're not traveling after all has to do with this idea of finances loosening up and becoming a little bit more breathable. And you're really impatient with the idea of finances needing to loosen up. I think that what is that you were expecting that finances would be better by now. And while they may be better, they're not better enough. And so you're deciding not to go on a trip or to cancel some type of outing during this time frame. Now let's look at what do we have here? This is the end of this time frame. Where are you, Libras? We see you're really focused again. I'm just having a hard time understanding you, Libras. We see you focused again. There's something or someone that you really have feelings for and that you love. You want to nurture. You want that to be a part of your life. But you're feeling sorry for yourself. And you're very focused on this. You're very focused on this. This is basically my pity party card. So this is telling me that somebody that you care about greatly is doing something that makes you feel like you've been mistreated somehow, or like things aren't going fairly. And you're really taking that to heart, and you're not moving on to that. Like you're just attaching to those feelings here and holding on to them. That's really not healthy, Libra. Once again, I'm left at the end of the time frame saying, you know, if you focus on this, it's only going to bring you more negative. So you really want to focus on something that is positive, happiness making. Turn your focus away from something that's brought you disappointment. Focus on the happiness making stuff. Your solutions come in when we focus on the good stuff, not when we focus on the problem or the thing that has us upset. Okay? So once again, try to put your focus on the good things. Okay? So that's the end of that time frame. I'm going to wrap this up, take a break, come back, and we'll look at the third week of November. Thank you for being here. Welcome back, Libras. This is going to be for the time from November the 15th through the 21st. Once again, just to remind you guys, it is a general reading. If you want specific information that doesn't apply to everybody who watches, then you want to get a private reading with me, and you can see how to do that at the website listed at the bottom of this screen. Oh, there goes some cards. Not quite, though. Not going to take them. All right. La da 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 da, la da da da. What do we have here, Libras? Okay, cards are on the table. Let's see what they have to say. Libra, first thing we're looking at is the environment. Environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Oh, it looks like you guys have transformed your environment into, or you are transforming during this time frame, your environment into something that you are really happy with and really feeling good about. For some of you, you may actually be getting married and moving in together with your other person. For others of you, this may be about a more tangible thing that's going on in your environment. For others, with your person, or they're moving in with you. But it doesn't have to be about a person. It can be about, maybe you've upgraded your kitchen, or maybe you've expanded the garage for those of you who are guys, or, well, I guess there's girls there who would be into that too. But anyway, there's something that you are feeling very victorious about with your, feeling successful and on top of the world with whenever it comes to your environment. Okay. Next thing that we have showing up talks about your subconscious leanings, Libras. What do we have here? I like this. So it looks to me like you're getting over some kind of heartache from the past, and you are sort of daydreaming about options that are around you, whether this is options and relationship that you've gotten over from the past, or whether this is some other kind of sadness or heartache that you've gotten over now. You're just daydreaming about, okay, how can I make life better in that area? So that's really nice to see. It's nice to see that attitude shift from where we had the pity party and the focusing on the negative earlier. Now we're seeing you look at, what, okay, I lived through that. What can I do to make things better now? Much better attitude. I like it, I like it, I like it. All right, Libras. And that was your subconscious leanings. Now what we're looking at is your learning style and also your communication style in this time frame. So learning style. I think you are learning a lot around something that makes you feel satisfied and productive. And so there's a lot of information that's coming in around that thing or around that situation maybe. Excuse me, however that pertains in your particular life. I think you're also learning a lot about self-worth and self-confidence and where that comes from in general, but also specifically where that comes from for you in particular. I kind of get this idea that you are learning to find that balance that allows you to stand on your own 2 feet without relying on somebody else while still having people who care about you surrounding you or in your sphere of influence. So there's a fine line of balance there, and I see you learning about that balance of, I've got me, and I've also got people around me who care about me as well, and making that balance really work, not swinging so much to one side or to the other side. Communication style during this time frame. You guys may be writing poetry or singing songs to somebody. Doing with your communication that you're trying to fancy it up a little bit. Maybe you're just trying to use bigger words. I don't know. Don't know. There was a guy that I dated at one time that said, "Why do you use such big words with me?" You may be using bigger words. The answer was, that's my normal language, by the way, just for the record. All right, what else do we have is about your communication style? On with your communication style during this time, not just with one person, but with many, where you are reflecting back to them what they're telling you. So you may be doing some active listening. Oh, well, does what you just said mean da 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 da, and putting it in your own words? But there's a lot of reflecting back to the people who are in your sphere of influence, reflecting themselves back to them to give them a chance to, I don't think you're consciously doing it, but you are giving them a chance to reconsider whether what they're communicating is really how they're feeling or what they're meaning. I think you are doing it because you want to make sure you guys are on the same page. Now, what else about your communication style? Once again, we do see you communicating about money, and this may even be about money games. Money games, money games. Doesn't the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think he has a money game out. Now I can't think of the name of it, but I know it's out there. It almost just came into me. I don't remember. Okay. And then also money games could be gambling. So there is some communication about some kind of money games going on. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name. It's a board game made by Robert Kiyosaki and his wife, I think. Or maybe it was just created by him. I don't know, but I've played it before. I just don't remember the name. All right, well, maybe you guys should Google that. I don't know if that'll be some kind of message for somebody out there, but you're going to have to work for that one a little bit because I can't remember. Next thing we're looking at is work for you Libras. I think your work does have something to do with travel, or you are going to be traveling for work during this time. Not sure that you're really so happy about that. Not sure that you're really so happy about that. I feel like you don't really care for the isolation of that. So it's interesting because at the same time that I think you don't really care for the isolation of having to travel for work, I do feel like you like the purpose that you're having to travel for. You like the work. You like whatever it is that you have to travel for work, whether it's making a presentation or whether it's, logistically moving things, whatever it is. I think you like that work. You're not so thrilled about the isolation during this particular time frame, though. All right. La da 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 da. La da da da. Okay. What are we looking at here? We're looking at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Happiness is right in the middle of this, so that's always a good thing. Excuse me. Okay, so it looks like there may be some happiness coming to you because you are doing some traveling with friends. Now this definitely does not have a work feel to me. This is traveling with friends, maybe going on a little trip with somebody who's special to you in your life or people that you really enjoy. And so that's where you're growing or expanding right now, is in having that experience that allows you that joy as you travel, as you move ahead. La da, la da 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 da. Traveling seems to feature a lot for you Libras. All right. Looking next at those things that you stand for. Let's see what's coming up here. It looks like you've got somebody in your sphere of influence, Libra, that at one point they're like, oh, baby, I love you so much. And then maybe a couple days later or maybe 20 minutes later, they're like, oh, I can't stand you. I don't know what I'm doing with you at all. Yay for you. I think that you are really dedicated to this love interest or this partnership, whatever it may be, but this wishy-washy back and forth thing has you taking a break and stopping to consider and just step back and think about this a little bit. Like, do I really want this up and down, up and down, up and down all the time? And so this is something that somebody has asked you about, and you've sort of had to basically defend or at least talk about this. Now, how this other person sees you after you've explained the situation to them, they see you as somebody who is really grounded, and they feel like you're in a position now where you're holding back. You're not sharing your emotions so much with whoever this is that's been up and down with you. I think they also feel like you've kind of fallen out of love with this person because the swinging door has just swung too many times. But at the same time, you're not really ready to let go of them either. That's what they think of you after you've talked about this situation. All right, next thing that we're going to look at tells me about you guys' flex point. This is the place where things start to turn around during this time frame, Libras. Things start to take a little bit of a different shape. Let's see what's going on here. What's happening here? Ooh, some kind of truth is coming out. And it's interesting because when that truth starts coming out, that helps you, because where you were feeling like you didn't know how to move forward with some type of situation, when that truth comes out, that situation is no longer tempting anymore. That might have been a toxic relationship or some other type of toxic situation. Once the cards are on the table, once the truth is out, no. It's not as intriguing. It's not as fascinating. It's not something you're really that into once the truth comes out. Okay. What else is going on at the same time? Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. There is some confusion here. I think somebody's coming to you with some kind of message saying, you know, that they are having a hard time keeping energy up and moving forward. And I think this brings you some kind of confusion, but at the same time, the result of that confusion is that you decide that you're going to manifest something that you want. So their confusion helps you to make a decision to bring in some type of manifestation. Okay? And just the fact that they're confused may be that information that came up that we just saw previously. That information, that truth that came out. La da da da. What else is going on at the same time? I think you are picking up some new responsibilities. You may be picking up a new job, getting back to work, picking up hours. And it looks to me like the reason you're doing this is because you've had some kind of news about money that's not the kind of news we want to hear. Like the bill is outrageously big and we didn't expect to have to pay that bill. We thought somebody else was paying it. Or maybe a bill that's normally $20 is now $200. Something like that is news about money that we're not expecting, we don't want to hear. And I think that has you picking up more responsibilities so that you can bring in more income and relieve the stress of that situation. I do see you coming out successfully on top of whatever is this negative information about money, but it is because you're picking up those extra responsibilities that you're able to come out successfully on top of those and relieve that stress for yourself. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about where you are at the end of this particular cycle. Okay, so Libras, you guys have been continuing on with something that you started as a leap of faith, not knowing where it was. When we get to this time, I think that you've evaluated that and questioned whether it was still important to keep moving forward with it or if it was something better to just let it go, that maybe it served its purpose. What I have here is that you're deciding that no, you definitely want to move forward with it. And I think that this actually brings you in some kind of good message about finances or about material goods. Problem here, there's a catch here. And the catch here is that whenever that good message comes in, there's somebody who really does not like to hear that. They don't see that as a good message where you see it as a good message. They're seeing that as something that has the potential to be devastating. And I think that they are letting you know that. So where this should be good news, this can turn, because of somebody else's reaction, into something that you wish you wouldn't have heard, actually, by the time we get to the end of this particular time frame. Sorry about that, guys. Here's the deal. Those of you who have been watching me a long time, you already know this. I don't do sugarcoating. Ain't my thing. Okay? And the reason I don't do sugarcoating, for those of you who want to complain that this reading is not all positive, is because real life is not always positive. We have issues to deal with. And if we don't have a heads up about those issues, guess what? We don't get to prepare for those issues. And I think that if I'm going to be here and be here in any kind of helpful capacity, I have to tell you the truth about what I see in the energies. Now, like I say at the beginning, it's a general reading. Not everything's going to apply to every single Libra who watches this. Most of it's going to apply to most of you. But if I lie to you about what's going on and I don't tell you that there's an issue coming around the corner, then I'm really just setting you up for failure. And I'm not going to have that on my conscience. Okay? So if you don't like a channel where there's no sugarcoating, you're not going to like me. You're not going to like my channel. But this is the way it is. Okay? So let me go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to take a break. We'll come back and then we'll look at the last 9 days of November for you. Hello again, Libras. This time we are looking at November the 22nd through the 30th. Let's take a peek at how the energies are moving through during this last 9 days of the month. Once again, this is a general reading, meaning most of this will apply to most of you. However, not all of it will apply to all the Libras who watch this, and that's okay. If you find that it doesn't resonate with you, then you may want to check out your rising sign or your moon sign and see if that resonates better for you. La da da da, Libra. Let's put down your cards and see what you have. Okay, Libras, your cards are on the table. Let's take a peek at your environment during this particular time frame. What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? There's lots of communication going on with your environment. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. We have something coming up from the past, someone coming up from the past. This could even be a situation that happened in the past that's coming back in your environment. Let's say that you had a water leak and you thought it was fixed and now it's back again. Could be something like that. Doesn't have to be that. Could be that you had a wonderful, fabulous neighbor that moved away and now that neighbor has moved back into the neighborhood again. Could be, well, it wouldn't be that. This is the kind of thing from the past that you don't really like, okay, in your environment. And it looks to me like the first thing that happens is you hear a message that you're not very thrilled about hearing. And so there's a lot of communication back and forth between you and somebody else about this situation from the past or this person from the past that's showing back up. Lots and lots of communication back and forth. For some of you, this is communication back and forth with a landlord about an issue. For others of you, this is going to be something just completely different than that. But that did come in as a strong nudge, so I wanted to pass it on. For some of you, this could be somebody that, you know, you're not so happy to see that's coming back into the environment. And there's a lot of talk about this. There's just the thing that stands out to me the most is that there is a lot of talk about this situation. That doesn't really thrill me because who needs a lot of talk? Let's take care of business, right? All right. Let's look next, Libra, at your subconscious leanings. What's going on in your subconscious during this time frame? I think you're thinking about collaborating with this. I think this is probably a person that came back from the past. You're actually considering the idea of collaborating with them, even though you're not really so happy to see them. And the memories that you have with them are not really happiness-making memories. And I think in your mind, in your subconscious, you're wandering down the path. What would happen if I would get together with this person again or interact with this person again in the same way that I did before? And I think your subconscious is coming up with the idea of that you would feel like that would eventually lead to problems, is basically where your subconscious is going with that idea. You're toying with it though. All right, let's look next, Libras, at learning style and also communication style. You're learning a lot about what is emotionally important to you. What is it that brings you emotional satisfaction, emotional comfort, emotional peace? You're finding out this type of stuff right now. I think you're also learning what it's like to let something go that no longer serves you. And I think that may have been a challenge in the past before. That may have been kind of confusing for you before, but I think the skies are clearing up on that one now. I think you're starting to see more clearly how that's not only necessary, but also could feel good. So learning about that. And then you're also learning about something that make you personally happy. You. Not things that make somebody else happy, so you'll do that for them so they'll be happy and then you'll be happy. But things that actually make you happy is what you're learning about here. Now, let's look at communication style. I feel like there's been a lot of miscommunication or misfires on communication in the past. And it seems to me like during this time frame, you are very slowly trying to clean that up. Slow and steady wins the race, right? I get the sense of slowly and steadily. You're focused on cleaning some of these misfires up, but you're not running around doing that as fast as you can. And I feel like the reason you're not running through and clearing these up as fast as you can is you're taking your time, in that you don't want any more misfires. You don't want any more miscommunication. So you're taking your time to make sure that as you're cleaning up these messes, these verbal or communication messes from before, that you're actually making things better and not making things worse. Okay? So that is looking like a slow, tedious, arduous process, actually. Also in communication, I think you guys have some kind of fantasies or hopes, dreams, desires that you are giving people around you hints about. I don't think you're telling them full on, but I think you're giving them enough hints that if they're paying attention, they'll be able to figure out what these are. Also in communication, I do feel like you are, especially in your communications with a particular person or a particular group, I think you're trying to focus on the good, and you're trying to In your interactions with these people, I think you're also trying to follow the truth. And when I say follow the truth, I feel like you may kind of have to track the truth down to follow it. It may even be a moving target. And when I say it may even be a moving target, like once you think you understand the truth today and then you see them the next day, well, now some other things have happened and what was the truth is no longer the truth anymore because that's been amended and updated. But I do feel like you are trying to, you're trying to keep up with what is the truth about what they're telling you. I don't think you're necessarily looking for lies, but I do feel like you sort of have the feeling that illusion is sort of innate in this situation or in this group or person's personality. And so dealing with that illusion, you're kind of trying to use your X-ray vision to see through that illusion so that you can follow the truth of the situation here. Okay, so that's what we have coming up for communication style. Next thing that we're looking at is going to talk to me about work for you guys. Workity, work, 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 work. What do we have? Definitely, I think that traveling for work is on hold now, or you are back from traveling from work. I know last time frame we saw you traveling from work. I see you coming back from that now. And I feel like you're not so thrilled about how work is going. It looks like there are some things happening at work that are less than happiness making during this time frame. You may even be considering leaving again. I think in the beginning of the month we saw you leaving work, and then we saw somebody offering you like the next time frame to sweeten the deal. And I think you may have gone back. Now it looks to me like you're thinking about leaving again because it still is not happiness making. Yes, they sweetened the deal, but they're still not listening to you when you're trying to tell them about issues. You know, nothing really has changed other than some numbers in your bank account. And I think you're still pretty frustrated when it comes to work. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now. La da da da, la da da da, la da da da, da da, la da da da. It looks to me like what I want to say is you're watching some kind of situation, and to you it feels like you're watching a train wreck happen in slow motion and you feel helpless to do anything about it. Okay? You feel really restricted about being able to do anything to stop the train wreck from happening. And I think that you find yourself in this position because you've gone back into a situation that you had gotten away from before that was negative, holding you back or holding you down. And now because you've gotten back into that situation, you're just seeing the writing on the wall here, but you're not in a position where anybody's going to listen to you or where you have enough influence to be able to change things, to change that writing on the wall. And I think it's really annoying you. People that you used to think of as friends, are basically abandoning you during this situation as you're trying to speak up about this situation going down. I think they're backing away from you. They don't want to be associated with you because I think they're expecting somebody to be shooting the messenger here, and they don't want to be standing too close to the messenger and get a misfire and have themselves killed. And I think that this is a problem for you. Not just because you don't have somebody backing you up, but also because you considered these people friends and now they're basically, you know, leaving you thrown under the bus. I do feel like that's a work situation. All right. Remember what I said about no candy coating last time? Still applies this time. Okay, so let's look at those things that you stand for right now. So it looks like you have taken some time to really think things over and figure out what your priorities are and what you actually want. And you've already done this previously. Now you're back out in the world trying to act on those priorities and those needs. And the thing is that with you being back out there and knowing, having your stuff together really is what I'm, now that you're back out in the world and you have your stuff together, what you're finding and what's surprising you is that you're not running into any situations or any people that actually meet your criteria now that you've thought your criteria out. I think you had the impression that people or situations were kind of everywhere. You just had to pick them and sort through them and choose them. Well, now that you have this criteria, it's going to be a little bit more work to find what it is that you're hoping to attain here. And this is something that somebody's confronted you about. Maybe they're calling you too picky, and you're having to defend yourself to them. It's not too picky to figure out what your values are. It's worth the wait. Now, how this other person, though, is seeing you, they're seeing you as somebody who really isn't doing much and somebody who doesn't have any good ideas about what to do. And they're seeing you as somebody who is sort of willing to communicate with just about everybody. Anybody who comes up to them to want to communicate, they see you as somebody who will communicate with just about everybody, but they don't see you as taking any kind of action or necessarily even feeling inspired to try to take any kind of action. Okay? So that's what we've got going on as far as how they see you. We all know how people see us may or may not be on point, right? How they see us may not be anything like how we see us. They may not understand. It's all about, walk a mile in a person's shoes before you think you know them. And they haven't. They have not. All right. Next, we're looking at that flex point during this time frame, so where things start to shape up for you a little differently than they have in the past. It does look like there's somebody in your sphere of influence that you're having a disagreement with, or possibly even a misunderstanding, and I think it's really disappointing to you whenever this happens. And I feel like you feel kind of helpless, like you just don't know what to do about this. And the other person is feeling like they're not feeling helpless. They're feeling like the right thing has happened here. They're not understanding that there was a misunderstanding. Okay? Now, what else is going on at the same time? It looks like you are actually hoping to get a fight going. Basically, you're hoping to pick a fight here, Libras. And you're hoping to pick a fight because you're thinking that if you get somebody to start fighting with you, to start reacting to you instead of responding to you, then maybe the truth will come out and you'll know what to do with that. That's where your motivation is coming from. One question for thought, though. What if their truth has already come out? What if you don't need to do the fight? What if you just need to listen to what they said? Okay, what else is happening at this time? I think your fight is not going too well. I don't think it's brought out anything new or anything that you could work with. And I think by you, what's happened is this other person has decided to end interactions with you. they feel like things are just going in such a rough way that there's not a way to move forward here. Okay. Now, where do we see you at the end of the month, Libras? I hope we see you in a good place at the end of the month. I hate to end the month in a bad place. That's funky. That's funky. All right, so where are you? Okay, so I do see you in a decent place. It does look like you've been through some stuff. So at the end of the day, we see you at this point just, there's been something that you tried to work on that I don't think you were able to accomplish. And it had to do with that foundation that you were setting during the last time frame that we looked at. It just did not ever get set. But here's the thing, or not set well, is what Spirit's saying. But here's the thing, this experience where this did not go well has actually led you to focus more in a laser sharp way on something else that's more practical and that's more helpful for you. So as you're focusing on those things, you're taking more control of your life. And you're taking your life back here. I feel like you are taking your life back. And this is kind of the first time this month, Libra, that I felt like you were in charge of you, that you weren't trying to please other people and sort of bending over backwards, trying to jump through whatever hoops to make things happen. This is where I see you actually, you know, just making your own decisions and living with those decisions and moving forward with them and learning. So I think you're really learning from how this turned out, that you can't leave your life or your future in somebody else's control, that you have to control your life or your future. And that, I have to tell you, is a really good place to end the month. I'm happy to see that. That's a good place to be. Okay, so let me go ahead and wrap this up and get it made for you, put it up on YouTube. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the thumbs ups and for the shares. Thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions. I just appreciate you all so much. And if I don't see you here for a private reading between now and then I'll just see you back on the next video. Peace out.